Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. I wanted to read an email that I received from a viewer and my response to it. My public email address is youtube@rossmangroup.com. I read that one more often than lewis@rossmangroup.com if you're ever interested in sending something in. And I wanted to read this one because it's very much in line with what we've been talking about recently with regards to you know the thing, as our president would say. Hello, I came across your channel through your videos in gaming companies and stayed for the business discussions. I've always found your videos and ideas of doing business or life interesting. Your video titled "The Cost of Looking the Other Way" really left some questions about my ways unanswered, and I would like your opinion on it. I am a 22-year-old male, and around 2021, I came across an opportunity to make money where I would contact people through direct messages to ask them if they would like to sell the coins they had earned for free at a particular website. This website used to give coins for being active, and since most of the people there had no idea they even had value, I was looking to buy them and then sell them for a profit. At first, I started with buying at $12 and selling at $20. After the prices crashed, I realized since most of these people had no intention of actually earning coins and these coins were just a byproduct of them being active, I can pay them even less and they won't mind, as for anything is better than nothing for them. I started increasing my profit margins and was looking to buy these coins for as low as possible. I always believed the premium I charged is for the knowledge I had and for the convenience I provided, as I would exchange the coins for any gift card they want instantly and also the risk of holding it. It was not easy to sell these coins for an average person. Also, I justified the premium saying if I never contacted them, they would have received nothing and eventually the coin would be valued at zero. So they earned something and I earned too. I've always wanted to ask this question to someone: was I correct to think that way? Whether I did good or not depends on what would have happened if I never did anything. But since most of the people in real life have no idea about this activity, I've never had an opportunity to ask these questions. I don't know if you're the correct one to ask or not, I just felt like asking you this. Your answer won't change what happened, and to be honest, I do not regret doing what I did. I'm happy about what I did, but I'd like to improve, and hence I am here. Looking forward to your reply. Also, the coin has been abandoned for more than a year now, and I have left doing this too. I understand this may not be enough for you to base your judgment. I have tried to best recall my feelings in the situation here. I didn't actually read the last line when I was responding to this, so I was responding with the idea that this is still something that he was doing regularly. My response: 99% of the people you are calling have no time to figure out if the coins you're telling them about are a scam. They also might not have any desire to redeem their coins. You must understand where your value is. If you buy coins for 50 cents that are worth $12 and you go out of your way to avoid telling the customer what the market price range for them is, that's kind of scummy. A lot of business people would say, that's your business. That's not the customer's business. That's for you to know, not the customer. And if the customer didn't do the research, that's their problem. This is a fuck you got mine mindset. While you didn't do anything illegal, it is still shitty. Above all, if you were doing this, you mistake where your value actually is. The person above that I air quoted thinks that they make money by virtue of their customer being ignorant. Their mindset is, if their customer knew the worth of these coins, they wouldn't sell them to me for below market value. They have a huckster-like hustle, and that's the way they make their money. That person is taking advantage of the customer's ignorance. The implication here is that if the customer were not ignorant, the customer would not use their services. Let's say you took a different approach. You introduce yourself to the coin holder. Once they show interest and ask questions, you find the right time to say the following: hey man, this coin is worth anywhere from $2 to $10 depending on the market. I'll buy them for you for $1 or $3 or $4, whatever the hell you think it's worth paying at the time. You could potentially make more money if you sold the coins on your own, if you time it right. Here's what you have to go through to sell it on your own, but I'm open to taking them off your hands right now for X amount of money. What do you think? This accomplishes the following goals. Number one, you are letting the customer decide for themselves, as a free man or woman, whether or not they are actually offering value. The customer is fully informed. Two, you garner trust with the customer by actively looking out for their interests. If you try to sell people, they will become instantly defensive. However, if you tell them about the value of their holdings, it appears that you are looking out for their best interests because you are. 3, you are painting the pain, as Jim Cam says in his book Start With No. By telling them what they have to do to sell the coins, not only are you informing them, but you're also telling them about the exchanges they have to register on, how they have to sign up, and you're telling them in a roundabout way that there is work involved in doing this. Many people will be open to doing this work even if they don't have the time for it, if they believe that doing this work is necessary to avoid being taken advantage of by a huckster salesperson. However, if you start right out the gate looking out for their best interests, they will not immediately respond in this defensive and retaliatory way. Therefore, when faced with the pain of figuring it out themselves, they might just say, fuck it, I trust this guy, here you go. 4, above all, you are doing honest business. There are many people who will not want to fuck with this. Whatever amount of money you are making by profiting from selling these coins is worth it to them to avoid having to do the work themselves. You may lose out on some customers this way who realize they have something of value and can sell it themselves. But those are the people who would become immediately pissed the second you tried to sell them anyway. They will become your fiercest critics, leaving 1-star reviews and trashing you on forums until your reputation is so bad that even people who would have been honest, consenting customers decide to avoid you. By looking out for the best interests of your customers, when the topic comes up of, is this dude contacting me a scam, the answer will be no. That will result in an influx of customers. I believe that is not only the moral decision, but a business decision, because that trust is worth something. In this case, that trust is a positive business decision due to the increased number of people who will not tell you to go fuck off when you cold message or cold call them. These people deciding to go ahead with the transaction will outnumber the money that you lose from people who decide to sell these coins themselves when you are honest. Think of it like drive savers. I have videos about drive savers on my channel, and Jessa Jones at iPad Rehab does as well. Drive Savers is a marketing business masquerading as a data recovery business. When Drive Savers charges almost $3,000 to do data recovery on an iPhone that has a bad charge port, Drive Savers has technically done their job. The customer did not have their data. The customer wanted their data back. Drive Savers replaced the charge port in order to get the customer back their data. Drive Savers billed the customer for data recovery, and then Drive Savers performed the service of data recovery. Drive Savers did not rip the customer off, nor did Drive Savers do anything illegal. A rip-off is when you pay for a service and do not receive it. That being said, if you learn that your grandma had paid $3,000 to Drive Savers to recover the data on her phone because she didn't realize there was lint in her charge port, and that she had only paid them that much because they had a good reputation, showed up first on Google because of paid SEO or affiliate marketing, how would you feel about that? Your grandma is likely ignorant on how an iPhone is put together and how to fix it, and she most likely doesn't understand the intricacies between lint in the charge port, a bad charge port, or a dying Tigris or TriStar chip. She was scared because her phone died, and she was told by the people at the Apple store that they couldn't help her. And then in fear of losing her photos that she thought iCloud was backing up for whatever reason, she went to Drive Savers. She paid them $3,000 to do data recovery. And she paid it because she didn't know that the issue with her phone was just the charge port. The people that she trusts never told her and allowed her to pay almost $3,000 for a charge port. How would you feel if Drive Savers was across the street from you in this instance? If they were across the street from you and you had just heard that she had paid $3,000 for a charge port, would you walk into their office? What kind of attitude might you have while you're in their office? And what might you say to the front desk clerk? Take the huckster I referred to earlier, the businessman who justifies this behavior by saying, that's your business. That's not the customer's business. That's for you to know, not them. And if the customer didn't do their research, that's their problem. Referring to this huckster, I would venture a guess that if this had happened to his own grandmother, he would walk across the street to that Drive Savers office and want to beat someone within an inch of their life himself, completely unaware of the fact that this is what he was doing to all of his customers. Take my business. For years, people told me that I was an idiot for showing people how to do repairs. Now it's easy for the detractors to say that I did everything I did with a golden plan of becoming internet famous, but anyone who watches the garbage quality and presentation of my early videos could see for myself how silly that is. The content was absolute shit. But the point here is that I showed people how to do everything themselves. I wasn't hiding from the customer what the problem was so I could create some mystique that would result in them being okay with doing business with me. My business model is not based on the customer being ignorant. Rather, it is based on them being fully informed and saying, fuck that, I will let this guy deal with it, rather than trying to figure out the difference between an N156C6L01 and an LTN154BT02 when the A1226 MacBook can use either of these screens in the same machine without any way to tell until you open it. I'm not hiding the ball that I cost more than the eBay person. If someone asks me how Tim Herman at TCRS is because he's cheaper, I tell them the truth. He is damn good at what he does. The reality is that I'll get business anyway, as does Tim Herman over the cheapest person on eBay. Our company's revenue is not based on making things seem hard or obscuring information. Our business model is based on providing customers with all the information they need to understand the competitive landscape, how to fix the problem, how they can fix it themselves, and capturing the segment of the market that trusts me to solve it for them. The people who don't have the time to research who they should trust, which is why as early as years before I started a YouTube channel, I was happy to share every single piece of information a customer needed so that they could do the repair easier themselves, thereby decreasing the value of me having a specific piece of information that everybody else didn't. When I started this business in 2008, nobody gave away any info for free. It was commonplace for scumbags in my old neighborhood to tell people who had a bad charger that their issue was the DC jack on their laptop. Then pull the good old, it looks like your charger killed your DC jack. Usually we charge extra money for a replacement charger, but for you, I'll throw in a free charger for being a good customer. Not only would the customer get ripped off for $200 when all they needed was a $30 charger from Best Buy that requires no skilled labor, but they'd even leave that scumbag business a 5-star review on how they gave me a free charger. These businesses scoffed at my model. In the end, my model resulted in garnering trust that has value. Not only garnering trust for me, but after achieving, I hate this phrase, D-list fame or influencer status, creating trust in the industry for component level board repair in general. Think long term. Your value lies outside of where you think it lies. This isn't a binary decision whereby you either obfuscate things from customers and make money or are honest and make none. Be 100% honest. Paint a picture of the pain. If the customer thinks it's not painful at all, they'll do it themselves. If they think that sounds like a waste of time, they'll go with you if you make it easy for them. Let the customer decide what your value is, rather than devaluing yourself out the gate or roofing your customers to elevate your own value. I am only a sample size of one, and I'm only speaking from anecdotal experience. Following this advice, I believe your transactions will go smoother, and you'll have more positive transactions in the future. Best of luck. There is this idea that if I share any information with my customer, if my customer is a little bit more educated, they're not going to do business with me. And there, what you're doing is you're solely placing the value on the information you have that your customer doesn't. When in reality, there's all sorts of people out there that may know how to do something themselves, that may even have some of the time to do it themselves. But what a lot of people that start out in any sort of service-based business as a contractor don't understand is that there are all these different risks involved with customers, and there's all this type of cost to hassle that they don't want to deal with. A lot of people don't want to deal with the hassle of if something goes wrong. That's what they're paying you for. If they try to register or sign up on the website, if they require all these different forms of verification, that's what they're dealing with you for. If there is some sort of error in transferring the funds to their account, or like this, they don't want to deal with that. What a lot of people don't understand when they start out with a new service-based business, they have this mindset of, I'm being paid to clean this thing. It shouldn't cost that much because they could do it themselves. They start devaluing themselves and then almost believing that they have to obfuscate or make it not obvious that what they're doing is something that the customer could do themselves. I try to do the opposite. I've always tried to push the pendulum in this other direction. Here, if you want to do this, here's all the information on the parts that's not provided by anybody else, so that when you go to do this, it's very easy. And what you're doing when you're doing that is, I realize this the difficult way, because this is not even what I was trying to do, is you're painting a picture of what it is going to be like for the customer. When somebody reads this, I really thought that somebody would read this and think, oh, wow, this is informative. I'm actually going to be able to do this myself because Lewis made this information available. That's how an autistic person thinks. The way other people think, who are much more normal than me, is, wait a second. This is one of the issues involved in replacing the screen on my device? And Lewis is writing about this like it's easy. How many other issues are there that I'm not aware of? If he thinks this is easy, how much other crap is he? This is the way it came off. And I didn't realize this until I had read Jim Camp's book around 2013, where he talks about painting the pain. Your value does not lie in the fact that you have a piece of information that your customer doesn't. Your value lies in providing your customer with a seamless, easy experience. You get them what they want, they have value, and it is pain-free. There are a ton of times in life where there's been something that I have the knowledge to do, the tools, the know-how, and sometimes even a little bit of time. And I pay somebody else to do it anyway, because I don't want to deal with it. I want to focus on what I want to focus on. I don't want to lose track. I want to stay on this train. I don't want to get derailed by this other thing. And I don't want to have to deal with the fact that if I get derailed by this, then, oh, there's this other little issue that I didn't anticipate, so I'm going to figure that out. And that little issue has something else. And then I get taken all the way down on what Eli, the computer guy, calls the rabbit hole to hell. A lot of people want to just live their lives as they are and not get distracted by other bullshit. There's always going to be this, oh, I could do that myself, or, oh, that's easy. You're thinking the wrong way, because when you go down that rabbit hole, then you start thinking, well, I have to hide from people how easy it is so that they don't try to do it themselves. And the reality is that you should go in the opposite direction. Push the pendulum all the way to the other side. And very often when you push the pendulum all the way to the other side, it comes back swinging towards you, because people don't want to deal with all this shit. And they'll believe you. They'll feel like you are helping them. They'll feel like you have their best interest in mind. When I did this stuff, I was actually autistic enough to believe that customers would think that, like, I was writing this to inform people that were like me, that were so stubborn that they would never pay anybody else to do it to begin with. Here is how to do it. And what happened over and over again, the more I shared stuff like this, is people would say, yeah, I read your blog, or I read what you posted, and I said, I'm not going to do this myself. And I was so fucking confused. I thought that this was making it easier, but what I was actually doing, without even understanding it, was painting this picture of pain for them, because their definition of pain was massively different than mine. For me, I love memorizing model numbers. I love telling that something like the LP133WX1 TLA1 will work without having to flash the EDID code, but if you use an LP133WX1 TLN1, it's not going to work properly unless you use OS 10 Leopard, which is 10.5.8 versus the old 10.4, which will only work at the original EDID codes. I still remember this. This has been 16 fucking years, and I still remember this. Normal people don't have this crap in their brain. They have information on their relationships. They have information on their lives, sports they watch, interests they have. But I remember numbers. Only numbers, only EDID codes. The people you want as your customers are the people who, when they have all the information necessary, choose to be your customer. And the people you don't want to be your customer are the people who, if they had all the information, would say, wait a second, You're buying a coin from me for $2 that I could have sold for $2.10 myself? Rip off artist. You don't want those people being your customer because those people are going to go on Reddit and Yelp and Google and every single forum on the fucking internet and say, be careful of this guy, he's a scam. And when that happens, then the people that actually would have been happy to have you buy the coins at $2, knowing they could sell them themselves at $5 or $10 themselves, are not going to come to you. That's the problem. The people that think you are a ripoff because you're buying something at $2 that you're selling for $2.10 are going to tell all the people that would have been happy with you buying it at $2 and selling it for $10 that you suck. And then those people who would have honestly chose to do business with you are not going to do business with you because they read this shit. What I know is that when your focus is having customers do business with you based on having all the information available, everything sorts itself out. And very few people believe in this being the case. But for the past 15 years, it has been the case for me. I am not the cheapest option. I am not always the fanciest looking option, but I am an option that people have continued to use and continue to trust for a number of different things. This isn't something that's simply been limited in scope to Rossman Repair Group as a business. This has been something that has helped me in lobbying. This has been something where somebody who watched one of my videos where I said a particular thing was a legislative aide or assistant to a senator who then poked him and said, yeah, you should read this and consider signing it. Even the way that I found this job working for Aaron the billionaire in Texas, his neighbor had watched something that I had produced and thought, okay, I think that this is a cool guy. And then said when he started this business, you should have him come work here. There are a lot of doors that are open for you if you are open and honest in how you do business. There are many doors that are going to close, but you have to have faith that the doors that will open are doors that are going to have much cooler shit behind it than the doors that will open when you trick somebody into being your customer. I guarantee you it's a better way to do business or your money back. I will refund your full subscription to youtube.com/Rossman Group. All $0 of it. If you were on the fence on how to do business, I hope this video gives you a little bit of insight that sometimes the most profitable way to run your business is to simply try and be a good person. That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now. And lastly, before I finish the video, since I've posted this on another channel, even though I've announced that I know everybody doesn't read the community post, I've been talking for several months about creating this guide on self-managing, self-hosting your own servers and all that type of stuff, and this is a link I'm going to leave down below, just in case any of you missed it. I really did not think that this would turn out to be over 1,000 pages, but it did turn out to be literally over 1,000 pages. So if I keep the page down button stuck on my keyboard, you'll see that it's scrolling really fast, and you'll also see that it's not even close to done. I just passed the halfway point right now. It's still going. 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 I will leave a link to that. So if anybody wants to follow that, you're welcome to. That is why I did not post any videos for October, November, and half of December, because I was spending it pretty much all on this and going through the instructions. I actually rewrote this thing a few times because I would read it and I would think, could my grandma follow this? And if a grandma can't follow this that has never used Linux in their life, then I failed. And also, this is the dedication to Mr. Tim Giles, aka Sliverman, a recording engineer that I had always wanted to meet, who was a great influence on me that I never got to, who unfortunately passed away 2 years ago. This is my SUSE Linux box. I bought this shit in 2002. Look at that. I paid $80 for Linux. Isn't it pretty? Isn't it pretty? Isn't it pretty?
It's very pretty.
You like it?
I like it.
What is this little thing? Is that a lizard, a gecko? What the hell is that shit?
It's a lizard of some sort. I had 8.3. I liked it.
You had a newer version than me.
Yeah.
Fancy, fancy.
Very fancy.
See you all in the next one.